You close your eyes, and suddenly the world rearranges itself. Walls stretch into endless corridors, faces blur into each other, rules dissolve, and the impossible becomes ordinary. And yet, you don't question it. You don't pause to say, "This doesn't make sense." In a dream, nonsense feels like truth. You can fly without wings. You can breathe underwater. You can meet people who died years ago and hug them as if nothing happened. That's the unsettling power of dream logic. It convinces you without asking for proof. It bends the laws of time, of space, of identity, and you follow along without resistance. And then you wake up. Only then do you laugh at how absurd it was. Only then do you realize how impossible it all seemed. But while you were inside it, it was real as the ground beneath your feet right now. And that should disturb you. Because if you can be tricked so completely in your sleep, what makes you so certain you aren't being tricked while you're awake? Maybe this moment, your room, your phone, your thoughts, is just another dream with better consistency. Maybe what you call reality is just a dream you haven't woken from yet. Dreams don't just bend reality, they break its rules completely. Time collapses. One moment you're a child, the next you're old. Space folds. You walk through a door in your house, and suddenly you're standing on a street you've never seen before. Identities shift. A stranger speaks to you, and in that instant, you know them as a brother, a lover, a friend, though you've never met them in waking life. And what's more disturbing than the absurdity itself is your obedience to it. You don't argue with the dream. You don't resist its contradictions. You let yourself be carried by a reality that has no consistency at all. Why? Because your mind doesn't crave truth inside a dream. It craves continuity. It craves a story, no matter how impossible the story is. That's why in dreams, a monster chasing you feels as real as a job interview, a kiss, or a conversation with someone long gone. Your brain doesn't ask, "Is this true?" It asks, "Does this feel real enough for now?" And here's the terrifying part. Isn't that exactly what you do when you're awake? When you scroll, when you watch, when you live by stories others tell you, your brain doesn't always test them. It doesn't demand truth, it just wants them to feel real enough to follow. Dreams expose a weakness, the ease with which your mind accepts what it sees. And maybe this life, this waking world you cling to, runs on the same fragile logic. Dreams don't just play with the world outside you, they play with you. You become someone else. Your face, your voice, your very sense of self can change without warning. And still, you believe it's you. You can look in a mirror and see a stranger's reflection staring back. You can speak words in a language you've never learned. You can act with motives that make no sense to your waking mind. And yet, in that moment, you feel certain, this is me. But then you wake up, and the certainty dissolves. The person you were in the dream vanishes, as if they never existed. Here's the unsettling thought. What if that's no different from the person you are now? The you who wakes, who eats, who works, who scrolls, is just another version, another mask, another story your mind invents to hold itself together. Dreams reveal something we don't want to admit, that the self is fragile, that identity isn't solid. It shifts and flickers depending on the story being told. When you dream, you believe in one self. When you wake, you believe in another. So which one is the real you? The answer may be worse than either option. Maybe neither is real. Maybe you've never been one solid self at all, only a sequence of shifting roles, each as temporary as the dream that vanishes with the morning light. In dreams, time does not flow the way you think it does. A night's sleep can hold hours, even years of experience. You can live through a lifetime, wake up, and realize only minutes have passed. You've probably felt this. You're running in a dream, desperate to reach something, but the harder you push, the slower time seems to move. Or the opposite, a single blink carries you across days, months, even decades. Dream logic does not care about seconds, minutes, or hours. It bends time like clay. And what's strange is how easily you accept it. When you wake, you laugh at the absurdity, but inside the dream, it feels normal. You never stop to say, wait, this is impossible. Time doesn't work like this. And here's the uncomfortable thought. How can you be sure time is working the way you think it is right now? What if the hours you count, the days you measure, are no more stable than dream time? What if memory is the only thing stitching together the illusion of continuity? Dreams remind you that time is not fixed. It can stretch, it can collapse, it can vanish completely. And maybe waking life isn't as different as you believe, because when you look back, doesn't life feel the same way? Childhood compressed into flashes, years that vanished before you could even hold them, moments that felt eternal, but in truth were gone in seconds. Time bends in dreams, but maybe it bends here too, and you're too deep inside the story to notice. Dreams are not just strange stories, they are performances of symbols. You walk into a room, and every object, every sound, every face feels loaded with meaning. A red door, a broken clock, a voice whispering your name. You don't stop to ask why it matters. In the dream, you just know that it does. Dreams communicate in riddles. They replace words with images, logic with symbols. And while you're inside them, those symbols feel undeniable. The red door must be opened. The whisper must be followed. The broken clock must mean something. But here's the unsettling thought. Don't you live the same way when you're awake? Think about it. Brands, flags, rings, crosses, dollar signs, pieces of cloth, pieces of metal, pieces of paper, objects that in themselves mean nothing. Yet we believe in them with the same blind conviction we believe in dream symbols. We kill for them, we sacrifice for them, we organize entire societies around them. And maybe the strangest thing is this. In dreams, you wake up and laugh at how seriously you took a meaningless object. But in life, you never wake up from the illusion. You keep believing, you keep chasing, you keep obeying symbols as if they were written into the fabric of reality. So ask yourself, are you sure you're awake right now? Or are you still trapped inside a larger dream, one where the symbols have become so convincing you forgot to question them? The difference between a dream and waking life feels obvious until you look closer. In a dream, you are convinced it's real. You feel the ground beneath your feet. You taste the food. You fear the danger. You don't say, "This is fake." You only realize it after you wake up. But here's the unsettling thought. What if waking life is just another dream you haven't woken from? Think about it. In both dreams and waking life, your experience comes the same way. Through the mind, through perception, through memory, through stories your brain constructs to hold reality together. But perception is fragile. It bends. It filters. It lies. Memories dissolve. Stories change. The logic that convinces you this moment is real is the same logic that convinced you last night's dream was real. So how do you know you're not dreaming now? How do you know this room, this moment, this self isn't just another layer of illusion? Philosophers have asked this for centuries. Zhuangzi, the ancient Chinese thinker, once dreamed he was a butterfly. When he woke, he wasn't sure. Was he a man dreaming he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming he was a man? That's the blur we live in. We cling to this life as real only because it's consistent, because it follows rules we can measure. But rules don't prove reality. Dreams have rules too, until they collapse. So maybe waking life isn't the opposite of dreaming. Maybe it's just the longest dream, the most stable illusion. And maybe one day you will wake from this too. So what does it mean if dreams feel real and reality feels no different than a dream? It means certainty is an illusion. The walls you trust, the memories you cling to, the identity you protect, all of it could dissolve the moment you wake up into something else. But maybe that's not a curse. Maybe it's a kind of freedom. Because if reality is built like a dream, fragile, shifting, unstable, then you are not trapped inside it. You are not bound by the stories handed to you. You can rewrite them. You can bend them. You can step outside the script and see it for what it is. Most people never do. They accept the dream. They love its comfort, its logic, its illusions. They never question it, just as you never question flying in your sleep. But if you dare to question, if you dare to look at the cracks in the story you've been told, you might glimpse something greater, not truth in the rigid sense, but clarity. The clarity that this life, like a dream, is not solid ground. It is a shifting canvas. And meaning isn't found in proving it real or fake. It's found in how you live within it. So ask yourself, are you awake right now? Or are you still dreaming? And more importantly, would you even know the difference?